Hi, kids. It's Miss McNichol. Today in reading, I have a short story to read to you. It's called The Challenge. And as I'm reading the challenge to you, what I want you to focus on is this. Not that, this. Growing ideas about characters. We've been talking about characters and character traits this entire unit. So, authors use patterns in the characters' actions to form ideas. How do characters' new actions fit with or change those ideas? Why might the character act like this? Why would that character do that? Pay attention to a character's desires and how they are achieved. Notice anything about a character that the author repeats and why. Notice repeated details, traits, features, and objects. We talked about using precise language, the right words, use an image or a comparison to really show what's going on in the story. And characters are complicated. The context, where that means where kids, like we talked about how kids might act differently at home than they do in other places, or relationships with students and your best friends or your parents, those can be different. And we also talked about how we feel on the outside and the inside. We looked at that in the story 11, where Rachel was really upset on the inside, but she didn't show it on the outside. So as I read to you today, I want you to think about this character. The character's name is Robert. At one point, it's spelled wrong in the text. I'll try to say Robert instead of Roger. And Robert's a very interesting character. So I'm going to have you jot after I read the story to you. Okay, here's the story. It's called The Challenge. Mrs. Bertram loved her son, but she worried about him. He was always losing things, and he didn't take care of his toys or clothes. She wanted him to be more careful. She wanted him to be responsible. She was reading a book one morning, or at least she was trying to. It was not easy to do so because Robert was in the hall playing with his drum. Suddenly the drumming stopped, and Robert rushed into the room crying. "I broke it! I broke it!" he sobbed. "Your drum?" asked his mother. "How did you do that?" "I was beating it with knives and—" "With knives? The knives?" exclaimed his mother. "Where were your drumsticks?" I don't know," sobbed Robert. "Have you lost them?" said Mrs. Bertram. She needed no words to know that the answer. Robert's manner was quite enough. "You know, Robert, what I said would happen the next time you lost anything." "Yes," said Robert. "You said I must give away all my toys to some little boys who would know how to take care of them." "Yes," said his mother. "I see you remember. I will send them all to the Children's Hospital tonight." "But, Mamma," said Robert, "if I didn't have any toys to take care of, how could I learn how to take care of them?" Mrs. Bertram had to turn away so that Robert would not see her smiling. Or see her smile, excuse me. "I will have to think of some way to teach you to be careful. I will think of something and I will tell you what to do tonight." That night, she told him, "I have decided there is another way you can show how careful you are. I want you to do laundry every week for 2 months." Robert looked astonished. "Boys don't wash clothes," he said. "Sometimes," said his mother, smiling. "Now, if you do this every week for 2 months, I will know you've become more responsible. Being careful is part of growing up. It means you are responsible, and it means people can trust you. This is a challenge. It is something to do that is not easy. It will help everyone in the family." The next week Robert began his work. At first he disliked it very much, but after a while he changed his mind. He wanted to show his mother he was responsible. He not only washed the clothes, but he also folded them neatly. He kept his toys in a box where he could find them. He was careful with everything. The day when his 2 months would be up was Christmas Day. Imagine Robert's delight when he saw he had a new coat, a video game, and a new drum and drumsticks. On them was a note for Robert, who is very responsible. He felt proud. So again, I want to go back to, we're really down here, and boy, Robert's a complicated character, isn't he? Is he changing over time? So I want you to think of this chart that we're using about growing ideas about character to write a jot about Robert. Okay, so I can get most of the text on the screen, not quite all of it, but there you go. You can pause this if you need to, so you can go back and find some text evidence in your jot. So right now, go ahead and get your reading notebook out, read through this again, and write a jot about Robert. Thanks.